Hello, good morning Year 6 and welcome to today's maths lesson where we're going to be looking at percentages again. So we're going to continue looking at the relationship between percentages and fractions. We're going to look to see if we can find the percentage of a number and again those keywords increase and decrease. But as always I want you to start off by getting your brains warmed up. There's a Kahoot challenge here, okay, so go and enter that code in and go and get ready for today's maths session. Okay, and when you're ready come back and watch the rest of this video. Okay then, quick conversion, a quick warm-up on here as well. Change these numbers to a decimal and to a fraction. Okay then, so 59% as a decimal, 0.59, and as a fraction, 59 over 100. Okay then, have a go at 72% and 5%. So 72% as a decimal is 0.72, and as a fraction is 72 over 100. Now that does simplify down. They're both even numbers, so straight away I know it's going to be in the 2 times table. And if you are quite quick, you'll realize it's also in the 4 times table. Okay, so this one, if it's in the 4 times table, can also be written okay, over 25, and 72 divided by 4 is 18. So I've now got 18 over 25, okay, which is a simplified version of this. 5% is 0.05 as a decimal number, and as a fraction is 5 over 100. Again, this is a 5 and this ends in a 0. That means they're both divisible by 5. Okay, so if I divide 5 by 5 is 1, and 100 by 5 is 20 as a simplified version. Okay, and these are all the equivalent fractions for these two here. So I've got my decimals and I've got my fractions, okay, for each one of these percentages. And we're going to be looking a little bit more at this today. But first, remember those key words, increase and decrease. If you are increasing, you are going up, and if you're decreasing, you are going down. Okay, so we've got addition and subtraction there. So using that knowledge, can you increase £450 by 17%? Pause the video, have a go at it, see if you can work it out, then press play and follow my answers. Okay then, so £450, increase that by 17%. So what I'm going to have to do here, okay, is to find 17%. So that's going to be 450 divided by 100 and multiplied by 17. Next step there, that's going to be 450 divided by 100 is 4.5, and then multiplied by 17. Okay then, again there's 2 different ways you could do this. You could do this mentally in your head, or you could draw out a column method or a grid method. Well, I'm going to do this mentally, and I'm going to split it into 2 different parts, okay? Because I've got here, I could do 10 times 4.5, okay, well that's 45. So that's there, okay, so that's a 10 multiplied by the 45 is 45, and then I'll add 7 times 4.5. Well, 7 times 4, okay, 7 times 4, 28, and then 7 times 0.5, well, that's halving, so half of 7 is 3.5, and there we go, okay, almost mentally I've partitioned these numbers to multiply them, okay? 10 times this and 7 times 4 and then 7 times 0.5. And there we go. I can now add them together. Well, 45 plus 28 is, of course, 73. Plus 3.5 is 76.5. Have I finished there? No, I have not, because I've not increased it yet. So my next step is to increase. So I'm going to have to do £450. Add that to 76.5, okay, because I am increasing it by 17%. And there we go. Again, I've got my method drawn out here, so I'll go this way. 0 plus 5 is going to be 5. 0 plus 6, still 6, 12, and 5. So to increase £450 by 17%, the new total is £526 and 50 pence. Okay, increasing there. Now, the main area that we're actually going to be looking at today is converting fractions to percent. Now, there's 2 methods of doing this. The first way is to find the equivalent fraction to make it as the denominator to be over 100. Okay, so find the equivalent fraction. Or the second method is to change it to a decimal, then to convert it to percent. So let's just have a look at those in action. So the first method, make the equivalent fraction to be over 100. So that's just using equivalent fractions. So if I wanted to take 7/10, okay, and I want it to go up to 100ths, okay, to make it much easier to read, okay, all I would do then, whatever I do to the top, I must do to the bottom, okay. So to get 10, to make that into 100, I'm going to be timesing by 10, which means I will times this by 10. So 7 times 10 is 70. 70 over 100 is equal to 70%. Now, the second way, which would be more complicated in this area, but much easier in different areas, okay, is to divide, okay? And that is what that second method is there. Change it to a decimal and then convert it to a percent. So 7/10, I need to change that to a decimal number. So what I would do here is I would take my 7 and I would divide that by 10, okay? 7 divided by 10. Now, obviously this is straightforward, but let's just go through the bus stop method anyway for future reference, okay? So 7 divided by 10. Well, I can't do it straight away, so I'm going to have to put a decimal place in and 2 place value holders, okay? So that can't be done, so it's 0 point something, and my 7 moves across. 70 divided by 10 is, of course, 7. No remainder, so it's 0.7. And 0.7 is 70%. Okay, it's 0.7, or if you prefer, 0.70. Now let's look at that again with some different ones here. So I've got 17 over 20. Okay then. So 17 over 20. The first method, I'm going to make it to equivalent fraction so that the denominator at the bottom is over 100. Well, how do I get 20 to 100? I multiply by 5 in this case. I've multiplied the bottom by 5, so I must multiply the top by 5. 17 times 5, well, 10 times 5 is 50. 7 times 5 is 35. So 50 plus 35 is going to be 85. So 85 over 100, which is equal to 85%. And again, let's have a look at this on the bottom now, where I am going to divide 17 by 20. Okay then. So I've got 17, and I'm going to divide that by 20. Again, if you're ever stuck, you could write out your 20 times table down the side if you prefer. Okay. Now, sorry, that's 100. Now, this is a little bit more of a longer method, and it's probably not suitable for something like this. We would much probably prefer to be using our equivalent fractions at the top. But in a few steps, you'll see why this is so handy. Okay. So, how many times does 20 go into 1? Well, not equally, it doesn't. Okay, so I carry it on. Again, 17, nope, still can't be done, so it's 0. I'm going to have to put my 2 zeros, and 17 moves across. So I've now got 170 divided by 20. Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8, and I'm 160 to 170 is a remainder of 10. And then 100 divided by 20, okay, is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Therefore, 17 divided by 20 is 0.85. Well, 0.85 is 85%. Okay, so you can see the two methods here. First one, make the equivalent fraction, so the denominator is the denominator is 100, or I could divide my numerator by my denominator like this. Use a bus stop method to help you, or any other division strategy to help you get your decimal number, and then change that into a percentage. Let's have a look at one more. So the next one here, 2/5. Okay, so 2/5, and you may find other ways of doing this. Okay, so 2/5, you might be able to go to tenths, and that might give you the answer straight away. But let's stick with what we're doing. Okay, the first method, method number 1, is to make the denominator 100. So 5 to get to 100. What do I times 5 by to get to 100? I multiply by 20. Whatever I do to the bottom, I must do to the top, and vice versa. So if I multiply the numerator by 20, that gives me 40. 40 over 100 is equal to 40%. Okay, 40%. And there we go. Okay, let's try that on the bottom one now. So I've now got, if I was doing the division method here, I would be doing 2 divided by 5. Okay. Again, I'm going to put my decimal place straight in there because I know I'm definitely going to have a decimal number. Okay. So 2 divided by 5 can't be done equally, so 0, and I carry my 2 across. 20 divided by 5 is 4. 0.4 or 0.40, doesn't really matter, okay, is equal to 40%. And we can see our two methods there, okay? So equivalent fraction or divide. Okay, final question, 3/8. Now you can see I've only got one 3/8 here because there's really only one easy way of doing this. If I was trying to get this to an equivalent fraction, okay, you might find it a little bit tricky because we know that 8 doesn't go into 100 very easily, okay? So what I'm going to do here straight away, looking at this, it's a bit more complicated. I'm actually going to go into 3 divided by 8. And you'll see why in a second. I'm going to put it in my decimal place because I know I'm going to need it, and 2 place value holders there, okay? So 3 divided by 8 can't be done equally, so it's a 0, and I carry my 3 to 30. Again, if you need to write down the 8 times table, feel free at the side, okay, to give you a hand. There's not a problem with doing that, okay? And there we go, okay? So 30 divided by 8. The closest one there is 24, so that is 3, okay? With a remainder 24 to 30, with a remainder of 6. 60 divided by 8, that's all the way down here, that's the closest one there, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. With a remainder 56 to 60, with a remainder of 4. I'll put in another decimal place there, okay? So I've now got 40 divided by 8 is 5, okay? So I've got 0.375. Therefore, that as a percentage, okay, because times the decimal place by 100, okay, is going to equal to 37.5%, okay? And you can see the two methods there. So just to recap that one, the two ways that you could find, okay, the percentage when you've got a fraction is to find the equivalent fraction for 100 when the denominator is 100, or you could change to a decimal by division and then convert it to percent. And you can see our examples that we have gone through here. Okay, so today your work is to answer the questions from your sheet. You'll be doing different percentage questions. Some of these fractions to percentages will come up as well, okay? So if you need to go back and watch the video again, please do. Squares, triangles, and circles, you've all got your sheets to answer. And again, like yesterday, all work needs to be sent to me before 3 p.m. today. So thank you very much, Year 6. Have a wonderful session, and I will speak to you very shortly for our daily Skype sessions.